What's going on, everybody? It's your boy JP, back again with another video. And today I have the Motorola Edge S 5G, known also in the US pretty soon, unannounced, but often leaked, the Moto G100. This is the Moto G phone, or will be the Moto G phone, that Motorola told y'all about late last year was they were going to come out with this year, with a flagship Qualcomm Snapdragon chipset, an 800 series processor, and they did. This is the first phone out with the Snapdragon 870. It's 1.3 or 1.2 gigs, or no, I'm sorry, not. Sorry, I just botched that. It is the processor with, it's clocked at 3.1 or 3.2 gigs, so definitely ultra fast, and obviously an octa-core. That kind of goes without saying. This variant has 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage. The 6 gig variant starts at 400. This 8 gig model here starts at 450, or is 450, I should say. And yeah, LCD screen. Unfortunately, not an AMOLED. But honestly, even though it feels like I say this every time I introduce a new phone on my channel with an LCD screen, this has yet again taken the crown as the best LCD screen I've ever laid eyes on. And it seems like, again, every new LCD screen phone I bring here, I say that because they get better and better and better. The colors are right. They're perfect. I mean, the tone is just great. The brightness is, I can't even put it up to max brightness because then it won't show on the video. It'll just be all white. It gets that bright. And it is a 6.67 inch Full HD plus 1080. Of course, and man, it's just it's sweet. Even though it's an LCD and not an OLED, y'all know Motorola always includes always on display, even on their LCD equipped phones. So that's great. And it packs a huge battery, very generous. I don't have the exact size in front of me, but just know that even with an always on display on an LCD screen, you're not gonna miss any battery life. This thing will easily last you 2 days. It sips. The Snapdragon 870 just blazing fast. It doesn't feel like it overheats like the 888 does. Gaming's the same. Benchmarks, it does benchmark a little lower, but you're not going to notice it in real world, real life. I've only tested 2 games, Genshin Impact, Dragon Ball Legends. Dragon Ball obviously is not very graphic intense compared to Genshin Impact, but Genshin Impact runs like a top on this phone. Runs just as good as any of my Snapdragon 888 phones. I will test out that Switch emulator as I've done on other phones. I'm going to try that and see how well that works on here, but I don't really expect anything less. I do have the controller for that, of course, by the way. I meant to do a video on that months ago. I've actually had this phone for a week and a half, and I was supposed to get it a week and a half before that. It was delayed. But it was due to the postal service, not Giztop. Yeah, great phone. 64 megapixel main with a quadruple setup, and this back is absolutely amazing on this phone, which I'll get to here in a moment. Here, there's your side-mounted fingerprint sensor. It is an indenture, but it doubles as your power button. And I say indenture now because the all of your new Redmi phones, it's an arc, where it's kind of like built into the body of the phone. It arcs with it. In other words, it curves with it. And it's just really nice on those phones. I really like it. I wish Motorola would have did that. But then again, this came out first. So it was something that Xiaomi thought of and then brought out after this phone was out. So, I wouldn't be surprised if Motorola started using that design technique. But as you can see, viewing angles are great on this phone. And let's see here. It does a speaker, a USB Type-C. 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, luckily, and this back is really, really good. There's your task key. You can set that to whatever you want, Google Assistant or whatnot. And this, it looks glossy. From the picture here, you see how glossy it looks, very shimmery, but it's actually a matte feeling. There's nothing glossy about it. It's not a fingerprint magnet. It's not slippery whatsoever. There's your always on display there. And I had the fingerprint sensor set up the other day, and then I took it off doing something else. But it works. It's just, as you would expect. It's fast. It's not the fastest, but it's not nowhere near the slowest. perfect positioning. I just have to hand it to Xiaomi on phones like the last phone I reviewed on this channel, the Redmi Note 10 Pro with that ARC side-mounted fingerprint sensor is just amazing. I love it. It just kind of adds to the phone's design. This phone would look even better with that. But again, this came out before those phones came out. Well, the Redmi K40s had that too, but still they were after this. But and of course, speaking about the K40, that's the next phone with the Snapdragon 870. But Motorola did beat them to market with it. And today they also announced the Pogo F3 with the Snapdragon 870. But they also announced the Pogo X3 Pro, which is the first with the Snapdragon 860. So Xiaomi definitely got up on that one. But Motorola got with the 870 here on the Motorola Edge S/Moto G100. So if you want to get a quick, if you want to get a head start before the Moto G100 is even announced, let alone when it comes out, I got you covered right here because this is the phone. It has all of the bands for LTE and 5G for AT&T. It has all of the LTE bands for T-Mobile, I think including band 71. Don't hold me to that, but it does have band 66. It does also have band N41 for T-Mobile mid-band for T-Mobile's mid-band 5G that they had acquired from Sprint. I think it has N66 as well for their 5G, not just band 66 for LTE, but also N66 for 5G. But I can tell you that I have had personal experience using this on AT&T 5G. As many of you know, that's who I use, and it works great. And it's if this doesn't have the proper bands for T-Mobile, it's fixing to come out in the U.S. and it's going to be sold on lock. It's going to have it then. It's going to be the same price too. The 6 gig starts at or is $400. The 8 gig, which is what this is with 128 gigs internal, is $450. They have an 8 gig model as well with 256 gigs internal, which is $500. This is the one in the middle. And I'm pretty sure those are going to be the prices when they come out here in the U.S. as the Moto G100. Maybe $50 cheaper per variant, which would be really nice. Because at $400 for the Snapdragon 870, this is definitely worth it. I mean, this thing is blazing fast. Again, it doesn't really have like the overheating issues that a lot of people seem to experience with some of the Snapdragon 888 powered phones. My S21 I could feel did get warm a lot of times. My Xiaomi Mi 11 did as well. So, definitely something to think about. You're not really sacrificing much and you're paying a lot less. Of course, I can understand if you don't want the phone because it's not an OLED. I totally get that. I'm definitely pro OLED. But again, this is one of the nicest, if not the nicest LCD I've ever laid eyes on, personally. Viewing angles are great. The color saturation is perfect on it for an LCD. It gets super bright. I can't even show you again. It just goes completely white on camera. Super bright, super bright. Included case there, of course. Built-in screen protector. It does have expandable memory. I didn't go over that, and that's one of my favorite things about this phone. One of my personal favorites. It does have expandable memory. Turbocharge, and with your USB Type-C to USB-A cable. This little thing right here is about Motorola Desktop, which this phone reintroduced or brought back to the Motorola brand. Kind of like Samsung DeX. It's just not wireless, unfortunately, which is one of my favorite features about Samsungs. Not a big Samsung fan, as many of you know, but I love wireless DeX. It's awesome. I mean, even wired DeX is cool too, actually. It's the best of what it does, honestly. But as many of you know, Motorola was the first to do that years ago with the Asterix. So just something to keep in mind. I used that back in the day. I even had the lap dock for that. I spent all that money for it too, boy. Woo, man, definitely wasn't worth it. But, DeX is a solid system. You don't have to spend a lot of money to get into it either, which is, so again, Samsung did that. I got to give them that. I personally kind of want to get a Samsung Galaxy A52 just so I have a phone with DeX, because I sold my S21 the other day. So I want to get an A52 just for decks, and of course, if I do get one, I will bring it to the channel. Obviously, just not the biggest Samsung fan as a lot of other people, know, and I know a lot of people are Samsung fans. But yeah, man, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Let me show you a few other things here. It's very stockish Android, Android 11, and also too, this is a Chinese variant, but you notice I got the Google Play on there. This phone, like your Xiaomi, Redmi, Poco's global. Actually, those are gonna have those are always gonna have Google Play. But some Redmi phones don't. Some Xiaomi phones don't. Because some of them are Chinese. Some of them are global that do. Pogo is purely global, so you ain't got to worry about that with that brand. But some of your Realmes and Oppos and Vivos, the Chinese models don't have Google Play installed, but they do have GMS built in, so it's easy to sideload Google Play. You just got to download all of the Google apps that you use manually from the Google Play Store once you get that installed, like the Contacts, Gmail, Gboard, etc. Completely different from Huawei phones that do not even have GMS built in. So getting Google Play on those are a nightmare, and they never work right, no matter what kind of hacks you do. I have personal experience there, and it's just not even worth it. And I used to love Huawei phones. I hope that changes someday. It's changing for Honor, which is I would like to bring back to the channel most definitely. But anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed this video here. Hit me up in the comments. That is a beautiful phone right there, y'all. Check that out. That shimmer is just absolutely beautiful. Again, it's not, the camera makes it look slippery. It's not slippery at all. It's a matte finish. Keeping the shimmer with it as well. I wish more people did that. That's just really nice right there. But anyways, I hope y'all enjoy this video. Y'all hit me up in the comments. I hope I gave y'all all the information that y'all want. Like I said, wait for the US release, the Moto G100. It's just more of a Gantt. You ain't got to worry about Google Play not being on there or the proper frequencies and whatnot. But I really enjoyed bringing this phone to y'all. I wish I could have done it sooner. But anyways, I will see y'all. Sorry for repeating myself, by the way, too, y'all. But I will see y'all in my next video. Stay tuned.